So before we start the event, let us introduce Hive first. So Hive Consulting founded in London and focusing on helping students to fulfill various career development needs. We provide multiple services to help students to achieve their goals, and we can help them from 6 different directions, from CV advisory to the interview preparation stage. And also we can help them to find their career path based on our one-to-one coach sessions. So you can check out our official website to learn more about our services. So please feel free to contact us after the event. So let's get back to our main topic. Today, we invited 2 special guests from Royal Bank Canada, Ari and Darren. They both work in London now. So Ari, do you want to introduce yourself first and tell us more about your work?
Absolutely. Thank you for the invitation. Hi, everyone. Murray, I work for RBC Investor and Treasury Services, and I'm based in London, as Eric mentioned. Born and grew up in Cyprus, so went from the one extreme to the other extreme, long, cold, sunny days, and then I moved to the UK about 6.5 years ago. I first started working at RBC as a summer intern back in 2017. I spent 3 months with the regulatory and business management team for RBC Investor and Treasury Services. Then I went back to uni. I studied at the University of Glasgow, and I graduated with a joint honours degree in mathematics and statistics. So I finished my degree, and I was lucky to receive an offer at the end of my internship. So I returned in London in September 2018. So I've been with the firm full time for about 2.5 years now. Since then, I held multiple roles across different client-facing teams, both in the markets but outside of the markets, which really helped me build strong front office experience in the asset servicing market. So Investor and Treasury Services, my segment, is one of the 5 products that RBC offers globally. And I'm sure Darren is going to touch on his product as well. I spend times in the markets, as I said, FX execution, securities lending, as well as in sales, where I focused on strategic partnerships with institutional investors and targeting new clients for new business opportunities. And for the past 6-7 months, I'm in a trustee and depository role. So essentially, I work for fund managers to support them launch their funds in the market, meet their regulatory and investment objectives. And I have the overall responsibility for the operations of our fund servicing in the UK. I also support RBC's fund servicing capability overall for both authorized and alternative fund types. Outside my job, especially in this new norm, due to COVID, I love reading about the markets. I exercise a lot, and I'm currently preparing for a half marathon and hopefully a marathon later this year. So yeah, that's me. Happy to take any questions in the end.
Thank you, Ari. So what about you, Darren?
Sure thing. So I just joined, I'm a new joiner, so I just joined RBC as an associate in September 2020. So before that, I was working in so let's talk about my role at RBC first. So I am associate within the wealth management department of RBC, and I work in the British Isles investments. So if you don't know, what that means is I handle private high net worth individuals and trust clients based in the British Isles, so Jersey, UK, and Guernsey. And my job involves helping them manage their existing portfolios, evaluating investments, and trying to reconstruct or reallocate the portfolios and manage them, and also provide the ongoing reporting for them. And I also have a dual role within the RBC Wealth Management in the manager research team. So manager research team, what they do is they basically conduct research into different asset managers, fund managers, investment strategies. So they could be, let's say, researching on different fundamental large cap equity funds. For example, and I myself cover liquid hedge funds, so stuff like long short equity hedge funds, systematic managed futures hedge funds, etc., etc. And so before I joined RBC as associate, I was at a global consulting firm called FTA Consulting. I was a quantitative finance consultant there, working on derivatives and risk management related issues on litigations, arbitrations, and also valuations and disputes. And I graduated from Imperial with a master's in finance in 2019. And since I was talk about the life outside from work, I myself start talking about that and open up a little bit too, just to make you guys aware that I'm also quite an interesting person. I don't just work and do nothing else. So I myself am a kickboxer, so I'm trying to get on a professional kickboxing fight. I've been trying that for the past 6 months to 1 year now, but as you can see, COVID didn't really help me to achieve my goals. And I also really enjoy photography, a big hobby of mine and Greg's.
Great, thanks, Darren. So I want to ask, so what is the biggest challenge you have from the beginning of your new job, and what do you enjoy most in your current work?
So it's for me, it's a big challenge because as you can see in my previous role, I was more of a consultant working on entirely different issues. So that's issues related to derivatives, valuations, and financial modeling. It's a whole other kind of a concept. So when I actually went up coming to RBC to work in wealth management or investments, it was quite new. I'm not unfamiliar with the concept of investments because it was a big hobby of mine. I did it throughout the university, such as joining the university investment funds, having a trading account myself, playing around with the money that I have. But obviously, when it comes to working in the industry itself and working investment in itself, it's a lot different, a lot more complicated than what we do on a daily basis, such as buying GameStop. And so it was just a big kind of confusion and challenge. Because I was working in a really niche team of just 3 people with the same job function as me, and also 10 people in a wider RBC multi-asset team where my job function sits. So work is kind of all over the place, and it's but it's also quite exciting because if things are too organized, then we're not really trying to learn everything, and we wouldn't really figure out what we don't understand, what we do understand, what our interests are. But if work are more disorganized, such as when I first joined, when there are a whole bunch of workload just jump right on top of me when I first joined, it's kind of interesting because you get to see everything, you get to organize the work a little bit, and you really get to familiarize yourself with the kind of work through these sort of organizing and managing your task. And since in the very beginning there's little guidance, it's up to you to try to figure out everything. And I personally prefer that because you give me a lot more autonomy of how I can go about doing my work and how I can go about doing my own learning. But of course, with all these new things coming in, it did take me quite a while to actually get up to speed with these things. But I think it's also one of the really exciting things to actually pick up a brand new skill and pick up a brand new knowledge when I first joined. So that was about my experience.
Well, that's great. I believe you have a lot of pressures from in the beginning. Yeah. So what about you, Eric? Do you have anything?
No, I mean, it's similar, right? I echo what Darren said. And for me, I think the biggest challenge was actually the move to London and the step, because I as I said, I came straight through uni. So I just did my undergrad, and then I started working full time for a big bank. And then it was a steep learning curve. And then, day one, you sit on a training floor, and you suddenly realize that, you don't know anything, right? And you got to be open, you got to be eager to learn and absorb all of those things, but also you got to recognize that, right, I don't know everything, but I should probably be asking a lot of questions to get there. Be proactive. You sit on a client meeting and you hear all these fancy words and all these client deal related topics, and you don't know what you don't know, right? So you got to take a step back, really embrace the opportunity, but also recognize that you don't know everything. So it takes time, right? Some people say it's I don't know, roughly 6 months to 12 months or even 18 months to get settled in a role. So for me, it was really that steeping curve between coming from education to the corporate life and how to bridge that gap. Now, having said that, equally on the flip side, that was the biggest reward for me, and the interesting thing about my journey was all of those things that I picked up, and the huge learning experience, the networking opportunities that I had, boost of my business network, massive exposure, client meetings, but also